Welcome back to NATEFLIX, your home for movies on the radio. You can find more information about NATEFLIX, about Go Video, and about all the hottest new releases at GoVideoGainesville.com.
We'd love to hear back from you as well. Send us an email, govideogainesville@gmail.com.
Yeah, look us up on Facebook, Go Video or NATEFLIX on Facebook. We are also available on the Twitter. Now, over the last week, I've been getting some feedback from people about what their least favorite movies of 2011 were. And I'm getting a lot of varied response, and this has led me to conclude that it's not just me. 2011 was a terrible year for movies.
I actually have to say that in every single year, you're always going to have a group of bad films. With the problem that I'm having with 2011 is we have a group of bad films, and then our good films are also a group of bad films. So I want to start with saying that the newest film that has come out that I think actually did pretty well in the box office is Abduction with Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner is one of the worst actors that have really started to make a name for himself in Hollywood. I tried to watch this movie as long as I could. I probably got through about 35 minutes before I had to actually shut it off and start slitting my wrists. So there's just the acting is so bad, and I feel like Phil Collins' daughter Lily Collins just needs to give up, and she needs to start becoming an eyebrow waxer and really just take care of herself. But the thing is like this movie is it's all about the screenwriter. The screenwriter just could not write anything. Like, I would rather watch Twilight 100 times than watching this film, and so I just think that Taylor Lautner is willing to take anything he can, and I would not recommend a single film that he really...
Now, Taylor Lautner, if you don't know, started his film debut in Robert Rodriguez's Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yes, he was Shark Boy.
Mm-hmm. Now, then he made his way into the Twilight world by playing Jacob, the werewolf. And he, made a name for himself as a notorious terrible actor in those films. And now he's gone on to try his hand at a lead role in a John Singleton.
He's just not a leading
film.
guy. I mean, like he can be a bad supporting actor in a film like Twilight, but he just needs to stop leading films.
Well, look at this supporting cast: Alfred Molina, Maria Bello, Sigourney Weaver, Jason Isaacs, and Michael Nyqvist from the original Swedish Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah,
what a
also
great
from
cast.
Mission Impossible Ghost
Well,
Protocol.
I mean, the thing is it's the same thing that the studio does, is that they're trying to sell the film with big names. But this is something that bothers me, is they do this, and all of these characters and all of these actors in the film, they're not in it for any more than maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes.
This is exactly what we were just talking about with Haywire.
Yeah.
They surrounded an MMA fighter with a talented cast, and this is what they did with Taylor Lautner, who would definitely lose to Haywire in a fist fight.
Yeah, he's not a good actor. He may be a good model, but he can't. He's not a professional fighter.
Now, Abduction is going to be available on Tuesday on DVD, but because he's better as a model than as an actor, maybe you should check it out on Blu-ray. Maybe Taylor Lautner was made for high definition.
I would recommend this movie to some people. I mean, like, for me, the thing is like I'm not a fan. The first half of the movie is just all bad acting, and the second half of the movie is just all raw action. And the thing is what they were really trying to create with this film was a teenage born identity. And I think that there's a big market of people that would actually enjoy this movie. I just don't think that it's really my cup of tea. So
now, another terrible, terrible new movie that's coming out this Tuesday on DVD, and you know what? I don't even think Go Video is going to bother getting a Blu-ray copy of Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star. Having endured this film, it was painful to watch. It would be doubly so in high def. Coming from Happy Madison Studios, Adam Sandler and his cronies have concocted another comedy. They wanted it to be the next Grandma's Boy, which was an amazingly funny stoner comedy. And this time they tried to tackle the sex comedy. And I'm struggling for words. To say it is bad is a disservice to movies that are merely bad. It is so amateurish. Just a few weeks ago, I watched a great movie called Bellflower, which was made by a first-time director, writer, star, producer, and special effects guy who did everything. Made a movie for $15,000. That movie was so much more professional than Bucky Larson Born to be a Star. This movie is so incredibly amateurish. It's incredible to me that it was actually made by a team of professionals.
Well, do we call Happy Madison a team of professionals anymore? and are we? And when I say that, is like, are they really trying to be an artistic professional or a business professional? Because there's, regardless of the movies they make, they're real in the cash.
Well, unfortunately, this one didn't make too much money, although a lot of other movies that Happy Madison and Adam Sandler made this year, all on the worst list, have made a decent amount of money. Now, Bucky Larson, I'm not surprised that it's bad. I'm just surprised that it's really bad, because Nick Swartzen can be funny. He can be very funny. He helped write the movie Grandma's Boy, which was the first Happy Madison spinoff. He was also really funny in Reno 911. He was just in the movie 30 Minutes or Less.
He's funny
as well. And he's one of the late additions to this Sandler crew. Now, Adam Sandler, his first two movies that did well were Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. So he created this company called Happy Madison, and that did the production company that did all of his films. Now, eventually, they started making spin-offs: Benchwarmers, Grandma's Boy, Strange Wilderness, Paul Blart, all featuring Adam Sandler's supporting cast, but without Adam Sandler, although he did help write a few of them. Bucky Larson was written by Adam Sandler, Nick Swartzen, and Alan Covert.
It's like Judd Apatow's crew, only for stupid people.
Well, let me go ahead and name off, a few of the movies from 2011 that Adam Sandler and Happy Madison production company did that were some of the worst reviewed movies of the year. Jack and Jill, Just Go With It, and The Zookeeper. These were all movies that came out this year that some of them had Adam Sandler, some of them didn't, but they were all Happy Madison productions, and they were all some of the worst movies.
I think we can all agree that there's really just a love-hate thing with Adam Sandler. You're either going to love him all the way through, or you're going to hate him all the way through. And I think that the people that hate him they're gonna look at the old Adam Sandler, and the people that love him don't really know who the old Adam Sandler is, and they're just going to follow movies that they think are somewhat entertaining. I think that's something that's been bothering me the most about 2011 is the comic book films. I think that the comic book films are really just getting too out of hand. And if I had to choose what my top worst 2011 film is, I would put every single Marvel DC movie at the top of that list. So I'll let one of you guys take over, but I just don't think that we're really...
Every single one. So
every single one.
X-Men First Class
Absolutely
was just as bad as Green Lantern.
I think that X-Men First Class was the worst of the X-Men franchise.
Oh.
I think that Green Lantern is the worst of any DC franchise that I've seen. I think that what was one of the other...
Thor and Captain America?
Thor and Captain America were just really tired tries to try to revive a Marvel universe. And I think that the thing is, we've seen this comic book formula so many times. I'm just not entertained anymore. I'm just not.
Well, I think you have a point. Any comic book movie that's good this year is really just good by comparison. I think, the three best were for X-Men First Class, Captain America, and Thor. Now,
Thor was easily my favorite, but Green Lantern, I think we can all agree, or maybe not Barrett, that Green Lantern was the worst of the superhero movies.
I would put that at the top of the list of worst. I will say that I'm just thinking that we're settling. I think that we're settling for Thor, and I think we're settling for Green Lantern because they're just the only films that have been better than the worst that we've seen in the last couple of years.
Captain America was a little dry, yeah, and X-Men First Class was a little corny, maybe. Kevin Bacon ruled, though. Thor, I thought, was one of the most imaginative movies of the year. Kenneth Branagh's direction infused a little bit of Shakespeare into an old-school Jack Kirby, Stan Lee visual color palette. It was off the charts.
I think Thor and Captain America, I don't think anyone was really trying to make a good movie. I think both of them were just trying to make movies that were a bridge into the Avengers movie. I don't think anyone, could have thought that they were going to be as good as Iron Man or Batman. But
Or
the thing is,
Spider-Man.
Thor and Captain
They're
America,
just-
they seem to be supporting characters in what could be a really cool Iron Man plus the Avengers movie. But, why not make a whole movie about them? Because you could get all that money, and
Right.
just have 2 hours of setup for your Avengers movie. And unfortunately, both of those movies ended up being the best superhero
Well,
movies of
I
the
have
year.
a huge problem with the Avengers franchise. I think that that's all it is. It's just a big gimmick that's trying to get everyone set up for this other third-party franchise that's going to set up where we're all going to start watching the Avengers, Avengers 2, and Avengers 3. We already have Thor 2 in the works, Iron Man 3 in the works, and I just think that we're really just brutally abusing the whole superhero comic book industry. And we're just trying to milk it for as long as we can, and I'm offended by that.
Sucker Punch. Now, when I came up with this topic, I had 3 names that immediately came to mind. There were a lot of bad movies, some bad comedies that we didn't get around to mentioning because Sandler wasn't involved with them. Bad Teacher, The Dilemma, Hall Pass, Your Highness, Little Fockers, Take Me Home Tonight. All stunningly bad movies, but there are 3 movies above all others that really stood out, that they were so bad they made me mad. They made me angry for wasting my time, for wasting all this money. But Sucker Punch, Trespass with Nicolas Cage and Nicole Kidman, and an indie film called Rubber, which was so offensively stupid, and it thought it was smart, and it was just maddening. But I would like to talk in particular about Sucker Punch because it was the brainchild of Zack Snyder, who made the excellent 300 and the excellently underappreciated Watchmen. And finally, he took the reins to write and direct a movie, and it was the biggest mistake of his career. It was a terrible story. The acting was atrocious. It looked cool, but it was like watching somebody play a video game. It was one of the most painful movie experiences of 2011 for me.
Nate, I have a big point I want to make here with you because if anybody knows Nate's opinion on film, he is a huge horror fan. And when it comes to horror, I absolutely despise it because I'm absolutely not entertained by it at all. But what Nate brought to my attention is that with horror, people go to see horror films to see people get slashed up. People go to see Zack Snyder films to see slow motion, sword fighting, action films. And that for me, I'm a huge fan of Zack Snyder. And I think that with Sucker Punch, you go to see Sucker Punch knowing full well what you're getting into. You're not going to get any catharsis at all. You just want to go see some slow motion, hot girls in underwear slashing people up, and you just want to be entertained. And for me, Zack Snyder films are the action films for me as the horror films are to Nate's opinion of, his opinion with, I don't know, you tell me.
You know what? I didn't follow most of that.
Okay, well, the thing is I just enjoy seeing special effects at its best, and I think that Zack Snyder has a really, really good take on directing special effects.
Okay, now there is one way that I have determined to salvage Sucker Punch. You have a large group of people over. Drinks are probably a good idea. You find some great music. You turn it up really loud. You turn off the sound on the TV. You let it play in the background, and you don't pay attention to it. Whenever you happen to look at the screen, you'll see something that looks cool. And out of context, you'll think you're watching a good movie. If you actually try to watch the movie, the illusion will go away. It's all smoke and mirrors.
I had a friend who recommended this movie to me because he liked it, and I was surprised, but he told me it is one of the best music videos I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because the soundtrack was great. The visuals were amazing. He didn't have anything good to say about the plot, but that's all it took for him to enjoy it, And there are a lot of people that's all it takes for you to enjoy a movie. Now, we're running out of time here, so I just want to go ahead and say that 2011 was also one of the worst years for sequels. Now, every single one of these sequels that I'm about to mention is the worst reviewed in the entire franchise. Big Mama's House 3 came out this year, worst reviewed in the franchise. Alvin and the Chipmunks 3, Chipwreck, worst reviewed in the franchise.
Is there a very good review for that? I don't know.
Twilight, the newest Twilight, Breaking Dawn, worst reviewed in the franchise.
I heard it was bad even for a Twilight movie.
Yeah. Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the biggest moneymakers of all time, had its worst
Could have
reviewed
called that.
sequel of the franchise.
I've not heard of number 4 that has done well.
Cars 2, okay, equally as bad as the first one, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Hangover 2, worst in the franchise. Probably going to be bad if they make any more as well. They'll never live up to the first one, it seems like. And Apollo 18. I never saw Apollo 1 through 17, but they were obviously really bad because this one was terrible.
And ending on that note, that was your least favorite found footage horror movie of the year. Mine was Last Exorcism.
Mine would be Paranormal Activity 3. Found footage for me is a 0 all the way across the board. Have not been entertained by a single one.
Okay, and I think we covered most of it, although we may have to come back at you next week with another 30 minutes of bad movies.
If you're ever in one of those moods where you need to watch a bad movie and laugh, come to Go Video because we got all the worst of 2011.
Which ones did we miss? Send us an email at govideogainesville@gmail.com and let us know. Until next week, I'm Nate Hensley.